Welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach when working with clients. I'm your host, Nicole Aucoin, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of The Healthy Kids Cookbook, 100% kid-approved recipes the entire family will love. In this podcast, we will be teaching you how to take one step at a time to become the healthiest version of yourself. Today's guest is Brent Bidwell, nutrition and fitness client at CrossFit Brighton. I'm so excited to share his story. I guarantee it will inspire you. In this episode, we discuss his journey of losing 100 pounds. Imagine losing 100 pounds. That's a huge milestone. It takes commitment to doing the hard things, even when you don't want to. We discuss what got him to his breaking point to finally say, I need to do this for myself, how he did it, and who was on this journey with him to support him every step of the way. I have to tell you, my favorite part of this interview was at the end. We talked about how his life changed because he did those hard things, because he committed to making his health and wellness a priority for the past year, and what the future looks like for him. We will get to this episode right after this message. First, I just need to say thank you to all of our listeners for your awesome feedback. We are getting messages all the time about how much you love these podcasts and the simple, actionable tips that are at the very end of every episode. Are you loving this podcast? Please take a screenshot and share it on your social media. You never know who needs some words of encouragement and needs to be inspired to make the changes and do the hard things themselves. Please don't forget to tag me, Nicole_RD_HSN, and at Healthy Steps Nutrition so that we can repost your awesome stories. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, our mission is to empower people to take control of their health, and you never know who needs that encouragement, who is almost at their breaking point. And I truly believe that if you are still breathing, it is not too late. You can start today. You just need some guidance, some support. And our hope is that this podcast does that for our listeners. All right, let's get to this episode with Brent. Brent, welcome to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast.
Thank you.
Super excited to have you on. You've been working hard the past 12 months.
Yep. Yes, I have.
Tell me a little bit about what your mindset was 12 months ago. So you decided 12 months ago that you're like, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to change my life. I'm ready to lose 100 pounds. What happened 12 months ago that was the time?
Yeah, so it was kind of a mix of a couple things. One being I was in a ATV accident a couple of years ago, and when I went into the hospital, when they went to do my like MRI or CAT scan or whatever it was, it took like 3 or 4 people to like lift me from like the stretcher over to the table, and like even just in that moment, I'm like already hurting, and then I see that, and I was just like, wow, that's kind of brutal, and then the other thing was just like, watching the clothes sizes go up, at my worst spot, I was all the way up into a 4XL shirt. And I mean, it sucked because I'd still see, I actually, I like wearing nice clothes. And so usually that will only go up to an XL or at the very most a 2XL. So it just kind of limits things anyway. And so it was like those two things that kind of started it from like, one side of the spectrum. And then the other thing was, I just knew I was way out of shape. I mean, it was just from a health standpoint, I wasn't eating well. I wasn't getting any exercise. For work, I have a desk job. And so I just knew, I was like, something just has to change. You know what I mean? And something that's going to be long-term. I've done boot camp, like short-term things before, and done like the quick diet things where you drop 40 pounds really quick. And then what would always happen is I would just gain it right back with bad habits and not sticking to a routine. And so I needed something that was just going to be long-term. And so a couple things that I was, kind of just interested in, I guess, from not even really having a ton of knowledge about it, but really just from the outside looking in was, either boxing or CrossFit, And so the very first thing I did back in last September was, reach out to CrossFit Brighton and, just ask them if I could just have a sit down and just discuss and see if not only it'd be a fit for me, but a fit for them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's definitely, something I wasn't even sure if they'd be, willing to take on, and so, went in and talked to John Tamer and, a couple things just really stood out to me. It was almost like it was kind of meant to be. I mean, he just told me, there's 24 hours in a day. If you can get in here for one, it's not, you just got to handle the other 23 and, you'll start noticing a difference in that as far as the workouts go. And then, the nutrition side of things as well, having, a monthly check in with Darcy and constantly always communicating about what the habits are, if I'm plateauing and that kind of stuff, and how to go about it. So yeah, that's kind of like where it started, I guess. I'll leave it there for now. That's kind of how it all began, and I couldn't be more happy that it did. I mean, yeah, it's just been amazing.
Wow, there's so much to unpack in the last 2 minutes that you just talked. So, all right, we have this hospital, this ATV accident. You see 4 people trying to carry you in the hospital, and you're like, okay, this needs to change. Then a little bit of time goes by. You're like, okay, I'm not fitting in my clothes. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I really need a lifestyle change, and I know I don't need a diet. I need people to help me. And when you probably made that transition, all right, let me go talk to CrossFit Brighton. I'm so glad that you did because
Yep.
they have that combination of nutrition, fitness, and accountability to help support you to really achieve the results that you were looking to achieve. When you were at your biggest, how much did you weigh at that point?
I was all the way up to 372 pounds, and I knew I would purposely never forget that number just because, once I crossed over, over 370 to 372, I was just like, that's it. Like, that's the number I'm just going to remember that I'm never going to go back to ever again. And, it's just going to be an all out change from there. And, it's been nice. I set long term goals right off the beginning, and then to get to the point where I am now, I'm setting even newer goals, and it's just it's a really nice thing.
So you set a long-term goal of I want to lose 100 pounds,
Yep,
right? And now you are so stinking close to that 100 pounds. How far away are you?
yep. One pound away, so I'm 273 as of this morning, and it's really actually kind of crazy to think about that. I mean, 100 pounds is just so much. I can remember even through the motions, just, Coach Larry was, when I lost the first 30, right? He told me, he's like, you know what? First of all, he thought that was just amazing because the coaches up there are all great. And, he said, go grab a 30-pound dumbbell and just walk around with it for a little bit, and I was like, you know what? That is a good way of looking at it. You know what I mean? And, so ever since then, I'm like, wow, 100 pounds. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have to grab, a whole bar plus some weight on it to get the 100 to walk around with it. But yeah, it's awesome to know that I'm at 100 and to just know there's room for so much more. I mean, like I said, one of the biggest struggles for me was always doing something similar to this kind of thing, and then just stopping everything. Right. Well, now I have new goals. I want to get down to 225, and I don't even necessarily need to do it fast. I just want to do it at a good pace, at a healthy pace, just like this first 100 has gone. We're doing it via eating right, working out, building muscle. I mean, it's just awesome. Like I played a lot of sports in high school. I've always been a pretty strong guy, but now, I mean, I feel like I'm just a whole nother level, and I'm excited for even more, and it feels amazing.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I think so many people get to the point that you were at, 100 pounds ago, and they're like, I'm too far gone. It's too late. Like, I'm
Yep,
not going to be able to do this. And you were like, no, I am doing this. And I'm going to find the people that can help me because I know I can't do it alone.
exactly. Yep. And it just so happened to be the very first place I walked into. I tell everybody who asks me my story, it's like a blessing, like I walked in there and it was just meant to be. That's all I can say, and it's just been absolutely incredible.
I love that. What was the feeling that you had taking the first step into CrossFit Brighton to sit down and just talk to them? Do you remember that day? Like, take me back to that day a year ago.
Yeah, yeah. No, I do. I remember. So I've been working from home, since last April, basically. And when I was working in the office, that was a struggle for me as well because, you got the transit. So I would drive to work, drive home. By the time I drove home, didn't really want to go, definitely didn't want to go to a gym or something, right? Well, once I started in last April, realizing that okay, I'm working from home. Like once my workday is over, I can go straight somewhere else and actually be productive doing something. You know what I mean? And so it once I found that extra time of that I've created to allot it made it easy to make that leap to at least go have a talk and hear out what it sounds like, right? Because I don't know. I get it. Like everyone loves to throw out the you know statement that I don't have time for this or I don't have time for that, and I get it. Like people have busy lives, but then I actually started really thinking about it, and that's kind of again that's what John said stood out to me was it's 1 hour out of 24. You know what I mean? It's so doable. We do have time for it, and I was like, this is a good fit for me because I can get a really good workout in an hour, get back to my life, get back to my family and stuff. And it was just a perfect fit. And they were able to modify things for me in the beginning because I mean I can remember. I mean I could hardly. I mean I could do some things, but a lot of it was needed to be modified. And to see where I was then to now, I mean, it's just incredible to be able to start making that leap to doing more and more.
I love that. And I think I know most people, and I will even say and I was in pretty decent shape. Like, it's kind of intimidating. Like, that first step, you're like, okay, I don't know. Are they going to judge me? Like, is this going to be the right fit? But I mean, CrossFit Brighton and, John and Darcy are just such amazing human beings that you just feel so welcome when you go there. At least I've never met them in person, but I've talked to them on Zoom quite a bit. And you can tell the culture there is just such a warm atmosphere that's like, hey, I don't care where you're starting from. I want to help you become the best version of yourself.
And that's exactly it. And that goes for all the coaches. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, Chris, John's brother, Chris Tamer, he's awesome. Larry, Jim, there's so many more too. And it's just awesome because they do make it personal. You know what I mean? Like they put the time in to make it, yeah, like you said, get the best workout possible for each person. And no one, I even watch how they do, work with others. You know what I mean? Every single class I go to, and I'm just like, wow, that's impressive, because it can be easy to, just go the course of the class and just tell everyone what to do, and they just do their own thing. But they really do take the time to make sure you're doing things right. They're making sure you're not injuring yourself, because that's the thing too. If you injure yourself doing this, now you're no good. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to help you if you're laid up on a couch with a hurt back or something. So even doing maybe in the beginning less weight, but making sure you got the mechanics right. That's key. And they do like a 4-class foundations class in the beginning to just kind of make sure you got the mechanics right, and then from there you just start building. And it's good stuff.
I love that. We do a 4-class foundations program, 101 personal training with every single new person because we want people to feel comfortable going into classes. Most people that come to our gym, and I'm sure it's the same way at CrossFit Brighton, have never lifted a barbell before. So telling them to do a deadlift or telling them to do a clean or something, they're like, what are you, clean the room? Like use a broom? Like, what do you want me to do here? So, I think it's
Yep.
important to be able to find a spot that's going to cater and scale workouts for you so that you don't get hurt. I mean, I know the fitness part is a component, but we can probably both agree that the nutrition component is really what is the driving force to your success.
100%. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And, it really is crazy to see the transition that I've made. And I'll tell you what makes it a lot easier too, is if your significant other is on board with you, it makes it even easier. And so my wife, we used to I always shopped looking back on it, we used to shop the aisles of a grocery store, right? That was just always what we would do. It was just our way of shopping, I guess, you know?
Hmm.
And after talking to Darcy, and really coming up with a plan, that was again, with her, that was something that stuck out to me, was to make sure and understand how important and why you shop only the outside of the store. The fresh stuff is always on the outside of the store, almost anywhere you go. And we stuck to that. And it's just made such a big difference. I mean, I could probably walk blindfolded through the store now with exactly where we need to go, what we need to get, and to just keep that good routine going. And yeah, it's so important.
Talk to me, which is amazing. Like, and you're right. So many people, go down the aisles, and the thing that gets me the most, and the thing is so frustrating the most about it, is companies do such a good job marketing their aisle food as healthy because it says whole grains or a great source of this or a good source of protein, great source of fiber. And you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is what I'm going to get. And you don't take a minute to look in the back and see, oh my gosh, this thing has 20 grams of added sugar in it, and it's not really as good as this front claim says that it is.
Exactly. Yep. And that really is something I really started paying attention to and noticing, and really started kind of tracking my calories and what was going into it, because you're absolutely right. Something may say, "Oh, this is only 100 calories or 200 calories," but like you said, there's so many added fats, or it turns out it's high in sodium. You know what I mean? And so it really is. It just makes it where it's just that's one thing you can always count on. You have a way better chance of avoiding those kind of things around the outside, whether it be produce, meat, and so on. So yeah, I agree.
I love it. And you mentioned this before, but you didn't follow a restrictive diet to lose 99 pounds, but by the time this airs, it probably will be 100 pounds. So we're going to say 100 pounds. You didn't follow a restrictive diet to lose 100 pounds. It was a habit-based approach. And would you say the nutrition coaching or the accountability from Darcy is what really was the driving factor?
I would honestly say it's more so the accountability piece. Knowing that every single month, I just considered every 30 days essentially, that I'm going to have a weigh in. I'm going to have to explain, how the month went, how the next month we plan on it going, that kind of thing. And, obviously, yes, there is, tons of different ingredients and meals you can make, and all kinds of guidelines out there, different diets and this and that. But really, the biggest thing that I've stuck to and Darcy has worked with me on is just really understanding which areas are just important food wise. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, you don't have to just eat only green beans and, eventually get sick and tired of them. Like, there's so many different options. You can mix it up. You know what I mean? As long as you stick to the base, then you really can't go wrong.
Absolutely. I love that. Being super consistent, staying super consistent, sticking to the basics, and having a coach guide you, because sometimes, as a nutrition client, like, there's so much misinformation out there about nutrition. You might think you're doing well, or you're just overwhelmed by all the information out there. You just need a simple plan, and more importantly, someone to keep you accountable.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts as we wrap up? Like, let's say someone is where you were a year ago, and they're like, man, I need to make a change. I need help. What would you say to them?
I would say that just similar to the experience I had, is just know that there are programs like this out there to start somewhere. And like you said, it can be, and it is overwhelming at first, and there is, such a stigma out there of like, oh, like, there's other people out there. What are they going to think? They're going to look at me and I'm not going to be able to keep up and blah, blah, blah. And, I would like to think that most places out there are like CrossFit Brighton. And obviously, if you're in the Brighton area, you know where to go. But just knowing that you can start somewhere. I mean, even if it means literally, walking more and then working your way into doing a little more each day. I mean, I just heard someone else. I was literally talking to someone on the phone this morning that was telling me that's kind of what they started with, and now they walk 10 kilometers a day. You know what I mean? And that's their way of doing it. And I love that because they thought at first, like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if I could walk, you know, 1 kilometer right now. You know what I mean? And so I just love hearing those kind of things. And just to note, there is numerous ways to go about this, and you just got to find something that works for you, And for me personally, yeah, I do. I just love the idea of CrossFit. I mean, I really never knew much about it until last year, to be honest with you. I'd seen people doing it on a high level and just kind of knew, like, okay, like I definitely can't grab the Olympic rings and lift myself up there right now, but I get it, And so, to know that there's so much more to it, and to know that there's ways to just, get strong, build stamina, and just be all around better and healthy. It's a great thing. And, I hope anybody out there who is thinking about doing it definitely takes that leap.
I love it. Brent, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You are such an inspiration. I'm positive to all of the Brighton family that hard work and consistency pays off. You truly transformed your health and your life, and goodness, like, think of all the things that are better now because you made that investment in your health.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
I have one more question for you.
Yes.
Now that you've lost that 100 pounds, what has changed in your life? Like, what's better now? What's different now that you've lost 100 pounds?
Well, one thing for sure is my golf game. I play a lot of golf. And so that was something I even joked about, honestly, when I first started. I was like, yeah, like I feel like I could, better my golf game by, making this change too. And so it's pretty cool because I do an event called the Corby Cup each year. And this year was our 10th anniversary of doing it. And I was actually a captain for it. So it made it even more special for me to, really get after it this last year, to be able to, show up this year as a captain and just make this incredible change. And, I can't necessarily say my scores have gotten better, but I definitely hit the ball better. And I'm able to get my arms through and swing a lot. It always looks better. You know what I mean? That's been great. Just overall confidence too. Like I do sales for a living, and it's I walk with just so much more confidence now than I used to. Right? Like it's so important, and it's just made a huge difference there. And, same thing. I mean, even with my family, you know what I mean? Like everything we do is just so much easier now. I mean, another example would be, riding on an airplane. I used to have to ask for an extension, on my belt, my seat belt, and it was embarrassing. You know what I mean? And so now, I went flying, I don't know, about a month or two ago or whatever it was. And, yep, no problem. Just linked right up with the belt that's on the plane. And I was just like, there we go. Like, that's much better. You know what I mean? And so just numerous things. I'm not going to go on and on, but like, that's just a few that really stood out for me.
That's amazing. It's like the little things that now have really changed and impacted your life that I bet you wouldn't have even thought of, like, oh, the seatbelt is going to fit me better, and I'm not going to be feel embarrassed at all getting on an airplane asking for an extension. Like, I bet you never thought about that walking into Brighton.
You're absolutely right. No, that's a great point. Like, it really is. I would have never thought that, but then when it actually happened, I had like those flashbacks to how embarrassing it used to be, or being that guy where, people are, not really wanting to, sit next to you because you're taking up probably more than this, every bit of your seat, you know what I mean? And so now it's just nice to just know that it's not an issue anymore.
I'm so proud of you. Thank you for trusting Darcy and Chris and John and the whole CrossFit Brighton family for, trusting your transformation and allowing them to help you on your journey. And I'm 1000% confident that you're not ever going to get back to where you were before, and you're only going to continue to progress. I have a favor for you. When this podcast goes live next Wednesday, I want you to comment below and let us know, hey, I've reached that 100-pound goal, because that's such a huge milestone. And man, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I really do appreciate it. And I will do that. And I look forward to honestly sharing it with people. I know, I've been lucky. I've had an amazing support system through the whole thing. I mean, I just numerous people that have also it's helped hold me accountable, but they've cheered me on. They know what I've gone through, and they know the goals I set. And so it is nice when you have friends and family who do cheer you on and do follow up with you and ask you like, what are we at now? I mean, it's constantly, it was like almost every week. And sometimes it'd be almost every couple of days. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I've only lost 1 pound or something, but I do appreciate it, in a good way. And so, yeah, it's just amazing. And yeah, the CrossFit team in Brighton is just awesome. I mean, like I said, I know I'm forgetting some of the names, but I love all of them. They've been so great. And, like I said, I encourage anybody, whether it be there or anywhere, to definitely just take that leap and just know, reach out to whoever, build a support system. And in fact, you can even reach out to me, and I'll gladly, give you any advice I can, or words of encouragement or advice, because I know what it's like. And I love to see people succeed in anything that we do as people, and whether that be financially, healthy, anything. So I love it, and I'm all about it. So that's where I'm at with that.
I love it. You're such a positive human and you deserve all the best. Thank you again. And we'll be following you in your journey now that we've had you on our podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much again, Nicole. It's been a pleasure. I do appreciate it. And I do look forward to, staying in touch and following up and all that good stuff. Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast with Brent. Man, I just think that it's so inspiring to hear people's stories now that they're at the other side of their hard journey. Is it completely over for him? Absolutely not. But he has all the tools and resources to truly continue to make this a lifestyle change and not be like all the other diets that he tried in the past. Here's the one actionable tip I have for you today. I want you to take 15 minutes to think about your goals. More importantly than your goals, why do you have those goals? I want you to think about what will be different in your life when you reach them. This is your map. This is your compass. It's hard to change. It's hard to create healthy habits. But if you know why you're doing it and you have a compass, if you have a map of where you're headed, it's so much easier to get back on track. Making changes is tough, but you need to have this compass so that it's easier to get back on track and stay on track. Let me give you an example of my goals. I know that one of my goals is to continue to eat healthy, balanced meals every single day. Why do I have that goal? Why do I prioritize nutrition? Well, I know that my energy levels, I know that my productivity, I know that my sleep, I know that my mood is better. I know I'm able to prevent disease when I eat quality foods. That's just me personally. But I know that when I eat healthy, my kids see me eating healthy. I want them to know what healthy eating looks like at a young age. Our kids are 10 years old and they know what a balanced meal looks like. We don't talk about having to have vegetables. They understand that vegetables are a part of every lunch and dinner. They eat vegetables as snacks sometimes. They'll grab cucumbers, they'll grab peppers and dip them in hummus or guacamole. That's exactly what we want. I don't want to have to try to teach them at a later age. It is never too early to start getting your kids to eat healthy. So for me, yes, of course, it's for me, but it's really also trickles down to my kids. And it also trickles down to the business, right? Like if I'm more productive, I'm able to get more done at work. I'm not drowsy in the afternoon because I ate a giant carbohydrate meal. My business is going to be better. My team is going to be better because I'm a better leader and I'm better to support my business. So that's the goal. But what do we have to actually do to make sure that we eat healthy, balanced lunches and dinners and have balanced breakfast options? Well, Jason and I spend a part of our Sunday planning. Jason shops and we prep some food. Do we want to do this? No, but do we do it? Absolutely. Because I know if I don't have lunches, if I don't have dinners prepped, I'm going to probably skip lunch or dinner because I'm in a groove working, or I'm going to end up grabbing something that's not going to help my energy, mood, and fuel my body properly. So I challenge you to think, why do you have the goals that you have? And what are the hard things you need to do to reach those goals? That is really what it comes down to really make that lifestyle change. So my one actionable tip today is why. Do you want to change your eating habits? Yes? Awesome. What in your life will be different when you do that? From there, you need to identify what you need. I can tell you 10 times out of 10, you need a support system. You need an accountability partner. Find a friend and find a coach who will help you on your journey. If you are by CrossFit Brighton, please go see them. Dawn, Chris, Darcy are amazing coaches and their entire staff is amazing. They're invested in your success and they want to help you on your journey. If you are not by CrossFit Brighton, which I'm sure many of you aren't, head over to hireanutritioncoach.com and you can find all of the Healthy Steps nutrition coaches near you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another episode again. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.